and that's all I really care about. Like you watch the news and see what's going on, here locally. That's all I watch TV
Shouldn't
for
you get
anyway.
that for free?
Yeah, why don't you get the converter
So
and antenna and
we
stuff?
Oh, because of where I live, it won't work.
Oh,
Gross.
too far away or what?
I'm 60 miles away from my nearest antenna, and I live down in a hollow. So I
Oh,
would have to raise an antenna up
yeah.
like halfway to the space station before I would be able to get the channel.
Oh.
Yeah, that kind
Hello.
of sucks with all that with all that the digital television stuff.
Yeah, you pretty much have to have a line of sight.
so
Yeah.
we all got shy. I
Oh, chick,
Whoa.
they're fucking
I
mortaring
came
in
here
on
to
top of
complain.
Northwest Camp.
I don't
Complain
want to
about
hear it.
what?
I don't know yet.
wait.
I
I'm
don't
a
want to
Oh.
dog.
hear it, Morgan.
You're gonna make
I
something
don't
up?
want to hear it.
Hmm. There we go.
Hey man, Morgan's a mentor now.
Sorry, what?
He's a mentor?
He's a teacher.
I don't have no Apple.
What?
He meant
He's
to
a
say
teacher now.
mental.
You do
Oh,
have an
okay.
Apple, though. It's the one that you game on.
Oh God,
Ha
it
ha.
backfired.
Aw.
Yo, my guys.
The heat.
Stream
Well,
promo.
thank you, Wombat. But Joel was giving me that stuff for something he wanted to make. But thank you. I will add that to my collection.
I saw you were gonna, excuse me, take a video or write some notes maybe.
Both of which.
Okay.
Actually, I'm trying to do it now. I just went. It's still connecting though, so whatever. So
I I will avail myself of those if you don't mind. I don't
that's
think I'm
fine.
going to be much help to you anyway, Amber.
That is perfectly okay.
I'm
Hey,
I'm not
hey,
playing the game very much right now anyway.
that's fine.
Springtime and early summer, and I have so much work to do that I usually don't find time to play much. Hey, see you guys around. Have fun.
See you
Thanks,
around.
Alright.
Amber.
All right.
Bye.
See you later.
Me.
You could have stayed.
You notice Billy waited till he left to say that.
He saved himself. Don't worry.
One of my sisters found an old laptop of theirs
I think she said she couldn't show up.
and gave it to my grandmother so she could watch stuff on Facebook of the kids and stuff like that. Anyway, this thing is Windows Vista,
Jesus
and
Christ, dude.
I know. I am
My
trying.
favorite operating system.
I am
Oh, that was
trying
XP
to
or
get it
Windows 10.
to connect, and it's local only, which is apparently a problem that Windows Vista had when it connected to internet. So now I'm trying to figure out like the fix for it.
What does local only mean?
When it connects to my router, but it doesn't go through to the modem.
Got it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Really?
Like a
Okay.
lamb.
Why can you?
Yeah.
I'd say can you update it to a Windows 7?
I don't want to put money in it. I don't even know how much she's going to use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, if she can,
It's
I mean,
true.
Windows 7 is better than nothing, and it's actually an operating system that you could use.
Wait, can anybody go to that where I streamed and see if I'm streaming it, please? It's in the streaming promo.
Where?
Go to that link and see if you can see it. Because
What
it's on
link?
my dashboard that I'm live, but that link I sent is not. Or it wasn't.
You
No,
need to get out of
that's
live search.
caroling pepperell is the last thing on your YouTube.
Yeah, so how do I share my actual live stream?
You should
That's a
be able.
question for Jamie.
You should be able, Amber, if you just give a link to your channel, it should be live stream. Is it public?
Oh, maybe that's what I need to do. Okay, let me go
Yeah,
change
make it
that.
public.
Yeah, because I don't see anything.
Yeah, 'cause that's probably what it is. It's.
Well, I didn't
Not-
want it to go. I didn't want it to be all the way in public. I wanted like some to be public. You know, like to
What-
you guys, but I didn't necessarily want it to go into
You
our.
can make it link. I do believe you can give a link out.
Where do I got this? Let me see.
I don't know. I don't stream off of YouTube, so
I
I'm
only
not sure,
did YouTube because like Twitch and Mixer, it'll be down there where everybody and their pet dog can see it, and that's why I decided to do just YouTube today instead of what I
Yeah,
normally do.
I think you can do it by link, if I remember right, because there's been streamers where they have like a subscription, and if you do give them money on Parthenon or whatever it is, you can get a, they'll give you a link for streaming on certain videos sometimes. Hello.
What the fuck? All right, let's see. Okay. View on. Okay, so
Where did you post this?
try this.
Go to streaming
Hello.
promotions.
Try that one.
Oh,
See if you
probably
guys
down
can
there.
see it there. What the fuck?
What?
It says live.
I see it. Yep.
Okay.
Do I
I'll
hear it?
have to
No.
worry about the who can see it later bullshit later. So, whatever. Let's see. Okay. View on. Okay, so
It's
did you
in
put-
stream
Oh,
try
promo.
this.
I see it now.
Go to
I have that muted, that's fine.
That's I wanted to do it so that the people who couldn't make it, I had a record of it for everybody else. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Seek and use
somebody went woot.
wait, somebody's talking in there now. I ain't got time.
Somebody's in your
It's
chat.
me. It's me. Just
Oh, that's Sig Fist.
Went woot.
All right now.
posting emojis.
Okay. All right. So it's 5 after. Sorry, I'm late getting started.
No, you're fine.
All right. So here's the deal. Some events are not getting attended, and some events aren't coming off the way some players would like to see. So, and I don't want to point any fingers at anybody about anything, and that's not what this purpose of this meeting is. So please, if you got any of those kind of comments, please, not tonight. Okay. This is really just to try to figure out where we are as a guild, what everybody wants out of the guild, and where we're meeting the needs and where we're not meeting the needs, and what could be done to meet the needs, and that sort of thing. And that is the purpose of this meeting. So I'm going to do a little bit of. I have a little written down thing. Our current events may or may not be in the best time zone or the best, I shouldn't say time zone, best timing. And that may be why our participation is low. And that is one of the things that we need to figure out here. Our guild is unique in that we have Europeans. We have a number of Europeans. So we've always tried to keep our timings and the times of stuff with a view to our European um, participants. So sometimes things seem a little early, but then now I have the problem. I'm getting a lot of West Coasters now, and now it's really super early for them, and so I'm trying to find a happy time for everything. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm trying to find a good time
Yeah.
that more people can attend for things, and it be more flexible for everybody to do the things that they need to get done or whatever. Um, for anybody who's new, and I'm looking at this list here and see, there's not a whole lot of newbies, but there's some newbies. So just off the top of my head, I should mention that we do not have ranks in
More
the guild,
violence,
as
I
you
say,
can see.
less
Really,
violence.
not truly and honestly, we don't.
I have everything you need.
Most people are divided up in the guild based on what I think or what they told me their favorite game mode was, and this is to make new players or returning players find somebody to ask questions to. That is the whole point of me having like World v World fuck yous and raiders and general PvP
Interested
people.
in something specific?
One is not
Excelsior.
above the others and all of those positions have the same exact permissions to do everything. So whether you're a World v Worlder or a PvEer, you have the same exact permissions in the guild as anybody else does, okay? The only exception is that I made a few months ago when we started this whole Amber's not going to do it all, she's going to let other people help and do stuff. I made event leaders, and these are people who run events for the guild. They do things for the guild. So that is the only exception, and they do have slightly more permissions because they need some sort of kind of moderator type role so that they can edit things and do things.
All prices are non-negotiable.
So nobody has, like some kind of general ranking thing. It's just not there, other than the basic leaders, which is me and Karen, who's not here, Slayer Juice. And Taz and Ella have special mention because they are the actual founders of the guild, and they didn't want to lead it. They just said, "Hey, Amber, we made you a guild. Here you go." So they're in the founder's position, so they are also considered somewhat of a leader, even though they don't really do much. I mean, really they don't. So, in regards to what I'm looking for, anybody can be an event leader. I am not saying nobody can be anybody who wants to be an event leader can be an event leader. So with that in mind, I'm going to give you a brief rundown of what I'm looking for in event leaders. Number one, you have to have patience. I mean, seriously, we have new patients, new players, returning players. I want leaders who can be patient and explain things to people, who don't get upset when shit doesn't go right, and can be pretty much positive and upbeat when they do their events. Shit ain't gonna go right sometimes. Fucking shit happens. Just deal with it. I need somebody who's relatively organized. That you're gonna have, making sure those who attend your event know what is required for the event. Like if you're doing, I can't even think of something, but whatever, let's say it's something that requires you to have a griffin. People need to know they have to have a griffin ahead of time, because there's a lot of people who haven't had the funds to get the griffin, because that shit's expensive. But you understand what I'm saying. Yeah, so if there's something that's required, a prerequisite for that particular event, it should be, noted, and people be told that before they get up to the event. So that's organization, knowing that, hey, y'all gotta, know what you have to do, and be able to explain that to people before the event so that they can get what they need. A relatively regular schedule, meaning, same time, same place every day or every week or whatever. It doesn't have to be same place. Place thing is just, whatever, but you know what I mean. Um, and that if you can't make, because real life happens. I have to cancel sometimes. I have to make somebody else take over for me when I can't do stuff. Usually it's L, but whatever. My point is that you have, that you get with somebody and say, "Hey, I can't do it this week. You want to cover for me?" If you get two people that do the same event, that's fucking awesome. Then you guys can switch off. Like this week I'll do it, next week you do it. That's fine too. I don't care. All I care is that my nudies' needs are being met. That's what I care about. So, um, I need a regular schedule. Um, and if you can't make it, shit happens. I do understand that. But even if you can't find a replacement, make sure people know long in advance that it's not going to be able to take off. That kind of thing. I cannot attend all events, guys. That would be impossible. I don't unless you guys are going to pay me. Then I'll attend them all. But I can't. I just can't. Um. So I do try to support you guys as much as possible, and event leaders, and I try to make sure that. And I do forget, and sometimes I slack. I do know. Um. But I do try to make sure the events are promoted on our website by our calendar. We have an event calendar on our website so that everybody can always go to the website and find out what's going on. Um, we have Facebook and we have Twitter, so I always try to do that too. Um, I do ask that if you're going to run an event that you use Eastern time because, as I said, we have so many people from all these different time zones. If we just stick with one as being this is Zorgon calls it NUDE time. So if we say Eastern time is NUDE time, and that way, so when you post about your event, you say, okay, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, that everybody knows and everybody can figure it out on their own. Trust me, if we all had to figure out all these daggone things, we'd all be nuts. So it's just one, everybody worry about their own time zone there. Try to get your events. Some events are long-term events, and some events are, um, can be completed in the same time. So, like, you can have an event that's like a raid, for example, can be completed in a certain amount of time. But, like, say, if we were doing some kind of collection thing, it may not get done in that one event time slot. So, try to plan your events accordingly when you're doing that. Don't plan your events when you know you have and I'm not pointing fingers when I say this. I just want to say this. If you know every day at 6 o'clock so and so is going to come home and you're going to have to take a break, don't plan your event for 6 o'clock. Just saying, okay? Don't plan the event for that, please. And that is pretty much what I'm looking for in event leaders. Now, as a nudie, what you can do to help the event leaders to make sure their event gets off on time. Keep the Discord labels info. They're like PvE info or World v World info. Don't chat in those ones. Those are basically for the event leaders to announce their events and tell people what they need to know. If you want to talk to them about that event, that's fine. Just take it to chat and tag that event leader. They will answer. So just try to keep our Discord channels, the info for announcements for events, and the chats for chats, okay? Let me see what else I had to say about that. Make sure you have what you need for the event. If an event requires something, make sure you're doing the work that needs to get done in order to participate in that event, so you don't hold up the whole group. So for example, guild missions. If you're a new player, you don't necessarily have all the maps open. It would be wise, if you want to participate into the guild missions, that you go around and just open up all the Tyria maps. Guild missions do not happen on any of the new maps. They do not happen on HOT maps. They do not happen on POF maps, only on Tyria maps. So even if you just open up one waypoint on anything, then you cut down the time it's going to take you to get to wherever the guild mission part is taking place. It's just going to cut down time. So have those open. Don't try to sidetrack the focus of the event. Don't say, hey, while we're here, let's do this. Or, hey, we're right by this jumping puzzle. Let's do that. Don't do that. That's rude to the event leaders, and you're sidetracking the event. So try to keep your focus on the event. Don't try to sidetrack them into doing something else. Okay? And that is what I hope my nudies can do for my event leaders. Now, I need to know, Karen wants to know a better time for T4s because apparently she's having a hard time getting T4s done on a regular basis and she'd like to have more schedules. So if you are a T4 fractal person, please get with Karen and tell her what your schedule, what you'd like for a schedule for T4s or what is convenient for you for T4s. All right, now you people whispering me in pink chat.
Excelsior.
Huh?
Oh.
People are whispering you in pink chat.
Just to tell me that there's a waypoints thing that you can buy in the gem store for 2,000 gems that will open them up if you don't have them on the tune. So I'm just point that out too.
Oh.
Yeah. So T4s, I guess, are having a hard time doing it on a pretty regular basis. So if you're interested in T4s and all that, you need to contact Karen. Other than that, raids and Billy, is Ryan here?
No.
I'm here.
No,
He is here. Wow.
Okay. I'm thinking, raids. You guys are having problems with raids. Is that correct?
Yes, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so we may.
I think. Oh.
I was gonna say, I think we may have to have a separate raid meeting to talk about raids and.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of issues there.
There's a lot of issues with raids, so but if you two could briefly, we'll do it in order though. Like, okay, so like Ryan, how about you briefly say what you need from nudies? Just briefly, so that they know.
Yeah.
Like if you want to say, hey, I want to change the schedule or whatever, or something, whatever the fuck it is, just give them. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I just basically I run the Tuesday group, the more like the group that's supposed to be clearing. So I just need people who are good enough at the game and willing to commit every week. So I just need people basically.
So you're
that are,
you're actually looking for more commitment from players to be a static group. Technically, a
Yes.
static group should be able to clear every week. That's the point of a static group.
Yeah, we can't ever get 10 consistent people, and the people we do get tend to underperform. Not to be mean, but
Yeah, no.
It's not even so much clear, but improvement. So progress.
Right. Okay.
and then I think we'll talk about what we want to. I don't know. I'll discuss it. We should have another raid meeting, and we'll discuss how we want to improve that. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Okay.
sorry,
So
Millie.
we'll put it on the list of things to do as a separate raid meeting for any raiders and open to all raiders. Because I don't think everybody else who doesn't do raids wants to talk in depth about raids. So, and I know that there are a lot of issues with raids. So, Billy, what are you looking for?
I need to change Thursday nights to a static group. I've been asked 2 weeks ago about that. If we can make Thursday night a static group, and I want to change it to a training static group.
So, well, hold on. That was my question to you. Was that okay? So what? So we're not doing in lieu of a training group. Are you wanting to do like both?
No, so I was gonna leave Saturday night at Saturday afternoon as a training group for people that they don't feel comfortable with or new to rating and stuff, or don't feel comfortable quite yet with rating. And then have Thursday night as a static group because there's been a couple that have asked about the static group.
Oh, so it's just so what we'll have is 2 static groups per week, and the only reason why I'm asking is because you know, unfortunately for me, I've signed up for both static groups. Sometimes we haven't even been able to get a full party or other things that happen. I kind of talked to Morgan about this briefly the other night, kind of the frustration level that I have. But once again, that's something that we need to have a different meeting for. But like the only thing
I've already. Oh, go
the
ahead.
only thing that like I don't, you know, I know I'm guilty of this too with being part of the static groups, and I'm not always able to be there because unfortunately for the, you know, nonprofit that I do work for, our meetings are always going to be on a Tuesday or a Thursday, and I'm on the board of directors, so it's not simply something that I can't just like no show type thing, you know.
Well, I understand that.
And if
I was thinking more if we can't get enough people, like 15 minutes after it starts, just pug it at that point.
okay.
But that was my thought.
Okay. I just wanted clarity on whether or not we were changing it from training to a static or if they were going to be both or okay, that was it.
No, it's going to be basically a training static group for people. Because I've asked a couple of new people that to come because I see the potential for them to get better at it and they can do better, and ask them to join, and there's people that know the raids that could help them with their classes and stuff, and people that can't make the Tuesday night, like Taz, he wants to do still raid, so and he can raid and he knows his stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll schedule a separate raid meeting for where we can talk more in depth to raiders in particular because there's a lot to cover in raids. I mean, from beginning to static, you know, or clear statics groups or whatever. And raids are always such a pain in the butts to get off the ground when 10 people won't show up. It's like the old days of waiting around for a cleric. But anyway, so we'll skip over the raid section for now and just talk about something else. But the basic idea is that if you're interested in raids, that's great. But please know that when you're committing to doing and being part of the raid group, that they really want people who can show up at the same time all the time. That's a big thing with raids. I was hoping Karen was going to really be here to talk about fractals because I don't know jack shit about fractals. And what did you say?
I guess we can talk a little bit.
You're gonna tell them there. You go ahead, Morgan. You go to most of the fractals, so you go ahead, tell them.
Well, right now with fractals, we have a really random group going in, and so sometimes we happen to have what we need, and we don't happen to have what we need. It'd be cool if we could have some sort of sign up where somebody would say, well, I want to bring, here's the mesmer who's coming, here's the druid who's coming, and then the rest of the people could sign up with what they want, so that on days when people want to do fractals, we can actually go in there and have the equipment,
and I'm assuming
You're
I don't want to. You're talking T4s here, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All the other fractals we can anybody can do together. But T4s is sort of frustrating because
what about
everybody knows they can do them, but
well,
you can't do them individually.
I was going to say T3s, aren't they a problem as well?
No, they're not. And I'm sorry not to talk over Morgan. I think our biggest problem is like anytime we try to do raids, not raids, fractals, if someone's having to step out because T4s, unless you have a healer, it's a nightmare.
I mean,
it's a frustrating, like endless dying nightmare because that's just kind of what they've become.
Yeah, I'm down to do them like all the time, any day, but I think I'm trying to put together some builds that I'll always be able to support whoever wants to go. And I think we just need to have maybe like a sign up that, okay, we have a druid, we have a mesmer. I don't think it needs a lot of a
See,
lot of
because Karen
attention.
asked me to separate T4s and T3s as one category and lower levels T1s and 2s.
I
She
think
was saying
Karen's
T1,
mostly.
she's
I
saying
think
T1s and 2s, no problem, I don't care. But T's 4s and 3s, she says, I really need to have a decent comp.
she's a drama queen about T3.
Yeah.
We all know
T3s.
this.
Yeah,
T3s, you don't need a
yeah,
comp.
you
You
don't.
can get away with it.
Yeah, T3s are
depends.
fine.
It
As long as
depends.
you have the
Do
AR.
note that this is being recorded, guys, so she just heard you call her a drama queen.
Oh no no. Oh no,
No,
I
Please
want
she
it.
is.
I
It
want
is.
it on record. Sharon,
Please
you
let it
hear
be
me?
noted. Please let it be noted that
Um,
Sarah did not call her a drama queen. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that if you have ART3s, or it's a cakewalk, and of course this is coming from someone who's done the high level fractals for the last 5 years. But I mean, like the T3s are a cakewalk. It's T4s that you do need a comp. You really kind of do. And I can understand with once again everyone's frustration when you don't have that, and it becomes a bloody fucking nightmare.
well, it's just psychologically frustrating that 5 people who all can do it individually will come together and wonder why isn't it working, and it's usually due to that. I think her main concern was time. She just really wants a reliable time when she thinks most people can do it,
Interested in
when she
something
can do it.
specific?
She knows that most of the people here come on sort of in the evenings and later when she does everything during the daytime. So I think she wants some scheduling options to get to know who's interested and if you're interested in doing them, when you most, what times you're available for doing that. So I think it's just a general timetable for her
I offer the best
that
prices
she's
around.
looking for.
Okay, so if you're T4 interested, do contact Karen.
Yeah.
In general, anybody else in here who does fractals, not in the leadership position, the lower level ones, are you guys happy with how often they're getting done, or would you rather see them happening more, or what?
I guess for me, they don't. I mean, we're not doing enough low level ones.
I don't have a problem ever. I'm not an event leader, and like I've never known how to kind of say that I'll do that. I know like with the other night, like dungeons don't get run very often. I know that in the guild. Like whenever we were bored, I'm like, hey, is anyone going to run some dungeons? I get there's no rewards for that anymore. And for especially people who do higher tier fractals, they don't look at it as, oh, I'm not getting the rewards I want. I don't have a problem like on any time that I'm on. And I know, Amber, you want like a schedule, and I can't always be there, but maybe I could commit a couple days a week and saying, hey, look, these days are the ones that I'm always on. I'll do the low tier fractals. I'll run those. I'll run the dungeons with people. I know these things backwards and forwards, and I love running them no matter what because it's nostalgic for me. So if that's something that you want, I'll do that.
Well, that's what this is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a finding out what nudies want, and then finding leaders in which to run them. So I just
I have
put you
everything
under
you need
event
right
leader, Missy. I'm gonna about to change your butt,
Ha!
and we're gonna
Can't
figure
back
I
that
this
have
down.
a little bit of a twitch
Okay.
on this. Um, just as an event leader, what nudies want and what they're willing to do and what they say they will do and what they will show up for are two completely
Yes.
different things, because you
are.
will hear constantly, oh, could you do this? Could you do this? Oh, I really want this. I really want this. Can you do this? I really need this. And you do it, and people have said, yeah, I could do that. I could do that time. And then fucking ghost town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like with nudies saying they want things, you also have to make the commitment to show up. And if you can't do it, like you have to tell us, like if we're asking you, is this a good time or is this not, or what do you want, and you're not telling us and you're not being honest about your schedule or your time, then you're really failing yourselves.
I will say I'm the mentor of OTBH, one of the mentors, and that's not just a nudie thing, so don't feel bad.
It is.
It happens in OTBH all
Well,
the
it's
time.
not. And coming from being a guild leader of my other, MLM, which has pretty much merged with NUDE. This is something we've seen consistently throughout the years. Like all my, you know, my little guild members, we need this, we need this, we need this, and we'll set up times. And you know, real life happens. People can't really show up for that, but you know, I get where Soul's coming from. It's a little frustrating sometimes because you're like, you show up and you're like, oh God, where is everyone at?
Well, my thing is not so much like, because, you know, the things that I'm running particularly, I've run. I have those achievements. I have those things. And and so when people, I'm not upset when people don't come. You know what I mean? But I feel like something's being missed in the communication, that maybe the time or the day or the event that I'm setting up is no longer needed or is being done at some other point while I'm trying to address another need.
Yeah.
And that I'm not getting the communication back that I need from the people who want these things to happen.
Okay, so what? Okay, so maybe us trying to set up a regular schedule is not the answer for some things. Raids, for sure, you have to have a regular schedule. There's just
Well, yeah,
there's-
absolutely.
yeah, and T4s, it sounds to me like T4s needs to have a regular schedule. But seems to me that other things maybe not need a regular schedule. And instead of us saying, okay, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. we're going to run dungeons, instead of saying that, just say, whoever's an event leader, say, I'm going to run an event this week and it's going to be on Tuesday at 7 p.m. and this is what we're going to do. Who's interested? You know, like maybe we just kind of promote it like days in advance. So like you would plan next week's event this week, but you might not have an event this week. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's ever changing. It's not a static event schedule.
Right.
Like it's
Right. Like random PvE night or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, I'm open to figuring out what works best for everybody so that I don't get complaints. Because, you know, I don't like to get complaints. I fucking don't. I really don't want to be guild leader. I really don't.
Well, not to like prolong this anymore, but like you've kind of stressed a couple times, and can I just ask you out of my own curiosity, probably not everyone else's, what do you think that NUDE's lacking something? I mean, like I know you want to meet everyone's needs, but do you feel yourself that something's not getting done?
Well, I just get some complaints about some things, and this is one of the things, you know, like some nudies have complained about some things that have happened in events and stuff, and then I get my event leaders, you know, get upset because nobody's showing up, and I don't want to point fingers at any particular people or anything, so I'm just, you know, trying to derail a blow up, I guess, kind of thing, you know, and try to make sure all my nudies are getting their stuff set. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
I can't speak for everybody, but first of all, I will never blow up. And second of all, I will just be like, okay, whatever. But I really, like, I'm never upset that when something happens or that, you know, whatever's happening. And I also don't mind somebody saying, hey, this bothered me. Could we not do that again? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if I'm not getting feedback, I continue to do the same thing because it appears to be working and appears to be what people want. So, you know, even if they want to go through you and say, if they don't feel comfortable coming, like, I'm not saying that any, you know, I'm just saying for my events, if anybody had anything, if they didn't feel comfortable coming to me, if they wanted to come through you, and you could say, hey, Jude, we've had this, blah, 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 blah. Cool. And it's not, and I don't get insulted or offended because somebody doesn't like something in a game. It's just something that needs to be worked on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, my only frustration with it is that I feel like that somewhere along the line the communication is being broken down, where people are wanting something and I'm not giving it to them, or that it's the wrong time placement. You know what I mean? Like, I just need feedback on that. Like, if it's fine, cool, we'll just keep doing it, and whoever shows up, and if we can do it, we can do it.
So you're the one event other than World v World that actually pretty much 90% of the time gets pulled off. I mean, like, your event is actually running pretty smooth. So, your event
Okay.
is good. I mean, I am not getting any feedback on that. I do know that you've had a couple of times when you have planned things and people haven't showed up, but, you know, you still have,
Right.
you know, some people show up, and I try to catch your events sometimes, depending on what you're doing. Um, but, you know, your event is.
And also,
Go ahead.
anybody that has anything else they want done in that event. I'm
Right.
just doing things that were asked for.
Yeah.
So if anybody, like I said, I am always open to communication. I don't mind constructive criticism. I don't mind if they needed to complain to you and then come to me. I'm very open about that. And to me, it's a game and it's real people playing a game. So there's going to be frustrations. And if you know what I mean, like I just don't blow up and I just don't get upset about crap like that.
Right.
So, I just think, I just wanted to,
Right. So, if there's anything PVE wise, also, Soul, I want to mention this too. Fluffer Kitties can't do a regular schedule as an event leader, but he's willing to help you out on your event or carry it
well, that would be
over.
awesome.
Carry it over. Like, say you're doing like a really long thing or something. Like,
Yeah, like migraine. We're trying to work on migraine.
right. Like, he's willing to, pick that up too on another night or something, and say, hey, well, Soul's group that was working on such and such, I'm going to carry it over tonight.
That would be awesome.
So,
So yeah,
go ahead, Fluffer.
So yeah, Soul, I just want to compliment what you're already doing with the events. I'm not at a good point to make like a good serious commitment on a particular day or night of a week. Not yet.
Right.
But what I was thinking of doing is just helping to compliment you by offering another time.
That would be
to do
awesome.
Maybe some of the same events. And also, I mean, on a personal level, it helped me get better at the game, and that's ultimately what I'm trying to do here. But I think, if that helps, I could totally do that.
Oh yeah, because I think that's been one of my concerns with my event in particular is that the time I put out the time and the people that were then interested in it said it would be good, and I tried to make it because we do have multiple time zones, so it's at a kind of weird time. But I do know that it might not be a great time zone for everybody, especially with summer coming up.
Yeah, I want to go to your events. You have no idea how much I want to go to your events because I love PvE. That's what I mostly play, but I can't. The time just doesn't work for me. So I thought, well,
Right.
okay, how about maybe we'll just try it at a different time. So
That would be awesome.
Okay.
so you and I can talk about that,
No,
right?
I was going to say, you two can talk about that together and come up with y'all's plan of action, and that's cool with me. Totally cool with me.
Awesome.
Cool.
Hey, Amber, do you mind if I give you an observation
Sure.
on a comment you made about people showing up? I think it was a general topic
Okay.
about people showing up to events where they make a commitment. I've noticed in other guilds, and I'm not saying you should do this. I'm just saying this is what some other guilds do. But in some other guilds, they do have those ranks, right? And you mentioned already you don't do ranks, and that's totally cool. But I think a lot of times those ranks serve as an implicit incentive system. And those that really want to rise up the ranks tend to show up for events, and then they start leading events, and then they start becoming whatever officers of the
And
guild.
then
And
they
that's
get
important
too big for their britches and think that they're special.
whatever. I'm not saying you should have ranks. I'm not
I
saying
don't
you
think
should have
you
ranks.
would do that.
I am absolutely not suggesting that you have ranks,
Brian's
but
No, I
maybe
get
there's
it.
another incentive.
No, I am a good example of that.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Maybe there's another incentive system that can be thought about that gets people to want to commit to those events. When they make a commitment, they actually make it.
Yeah, I have thought about that in the past. It's not like you're the first to mention that maybe we should, and we've had this discussion in NUDE a million bajillion times in the past 5 years. And it always comes back to, that's just not us, and let's not do that, and no. So, it
doesn't.
It just doesn't work
it
for
doesn't have-
us. But I appreciate
Yeah.
it. Yes, I do appreciate the suggestion.
Yeah, and again, ranks aren't the only option there. What I'm saying is, I think if you have an incentive, you'll have more success if you want people to commit to something and then actually make that commitment. Otherwise, you're probably going to keep getting a lot of flakiness and a little loosey goosey commitments. That's all.
Yeah. But okay, so all right. So there was a couple. I don't know how many people in here are SPVPers, but I had Solax running it, but then his real life got involved and he had to stop doing that. And he was doing SPVP. I'm moving on from PVE. Um, just so you know, if you want a PVE event, you need to get with Soul or Fluffer Kitty, and you know, whatever, we'll work it out. But is anybody really interested in the SPVP? I mean, like seriously.
When
Not
it's
I.
Answer.
Because I mean, Solax loves SPVP, and you know, I guess he had a couple of people came and did it sometimes, but so I don't know if
Yeah,
go ahead.
it was fun. It's fun, like SPV. SPVP. God, I can never say that right. It's fun. I love doing it. Just not all the time.
Right. So us trying to. The thing is I don't know how many people we have interested in that, and I mean, I feel like the few that aren't getting that, I feel bad for them. I guess is my point. So I mean, because Solax was running it, but his real life he had to ditch that. So there is an opening in that if anybody wants to run that, and you probably get 4 or 5 members interested. But you know, if you're interested, there's an opening there. And then on to World v World, which is pretty healthy, and we do pretty good in World v World. I mean, I don't really have any complaints. Does anybody else have complaints about World v World? Our World v World system?
No, I love it. World v World is the reason I joined this guild.
I mean,
Hey,
Me too.
Amber, can I make a suggestion for a WVW night event on a Friday night? Your character gets drunk instead of you getting drunk.
Well,
Instead of or as well as?
yeah, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That we should do that on that. What was that one that? What was that called? So the one with alcohol backwards. What was it called?
La Hokla.
Yeah, that one. That's what that one should
Oh
be
my
at. We should
gosh.
add that to that event then. When we
I
do
like
that
it.
one. Yeah.
I do have one thing to say about World v World, but it's not for me. It's something that Dip said.
Okay.
Dip said he wanted more World v World.
Oh, I know. I can't do more.
I feel like we have a pretty healthy schedule.
Yes.
I'm just making sure his voice is heard.
3 times a week. We do 3 times a week.
Wait, when's the third time?
We do it Wednesday nights, Friday nights, and Saturday nights.
I did not.
You need more. OTBH runs on Tuesday.
Yeah,
And then RTGC runs Thursday as well.
Fisted and Sesame both are in 2 other guilds, RTGC and OTBH, and they have figured out that you can go from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of just World v World. If you really want more World v World, all you have to do is just join them.
Yep. And there's always tags running on Sunday and Monday.
Yeah, Corp
need a color-coded
runs on
calendar.
Mondays.
Yeah, Mint runs all the time on Sunday night. I do have a problem with World v World. Okay.
Okay.
I
hear
don't
it.
like that. I don't like L. The fact that L runs faster than me, no matter what.
Wow, what a problem.
I think it's bullshit, and I think he's hacking the system, and I don't.
And he
like it.
never stops.
And he
Never
doesn't stop, and you can't catch up. And then, what does he have? Like Traveler fucking runes with every fucking character?
Do you get
Don't
your
laugh.
notes at
We
least?
used to back in the day, the first year that we played, everybody fucking Traveler Ruins were 10 gold apiece.
Yep.
And you fucking put those on and you ran around World v World with Traveler Ruins. I'm not kidding.
And it's great. And the only reason why I have a major complaint with this, and I think maybe like he's hacking the system and he's cheating at some point, is because, you know, as you guys remember, I started getting faster than him. And then there was a race, and then he was upset about it. Now, like, he speeds past everything I have. It's like he's getting himself he gave himself an extra boost. I'm not sure what it is, and it's just I can't keep up.
What
He
class
went
is he
out and bought a
playing?
bunch of
It's a
feathers.
ranger. It's
Oh,
probably
well,
the skill.
yeah, Ranger's one of the fastest ones.
It's a
That's
serious.
why.
It is a serious problem. I can't even keep a straight face when I'm trying to pitch about this, so don't worry about it.
Okay, so in general, our World v World night is our World v World nights are pretty regular and pretty we are well participated in, I should say. Um, Saturday night is technically open to anybody who wants to run that tag. It's not. Um, we're officially scheduled to do it that night. Um, I don't always I don't always want to be the tag. I really don't always want to be the tag. Um, so
I run for you sometimes.
yeah.
Well,
Somebody said something else besides Sig. Who else was that?
why don't instead of you do it on Saturdays, just pick some random person that you know, one of us that's going to be there, and like, okay, you run, you do whatever. We generally, as a group, decide what we're doing anyway. So it's just someone who has a taggy on their head.
I know, and this is the thing though. But whenever I say that, everybody fucking backs out. Or mostly.
What?
I don't want to say everybody because there's been a couple of people who take over the tag. I'm just saying. What I'm saying is that okay, Wednesday night we have locked that down as L's night, and it took me 5 years to do so. So y'all don't fuck that up, okay? I mean, don't fuck it up. It took me 5 years to get him to tag up on a regular basis, okay? Just let him have it. Don't.
What if you change Saturday to popping tags night on a regular basis, so you wouldn't have to do it all the time?
Well, it's not that we have to have a tag. I mean, we've done squirrel nights, where we don't.
Yeah.
We just run with no tag or whatever, and that's fine. I'm not saying there's a real problem with way Saturday's going. I'm just saying it would be nice. It's in the would be nice pile. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm not desperately asking anybody to take over Saturdays. I'm just saying.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm
Just
putting
have,
it
like,
out there that if somebody would like to, it is open to. That's what I'm trying to
Gotcha.
say.
I see you looking
Open
at me.
tag night.
Free groups of roaming.
How about a
Night.
Sid? It's going to be a Sid Tawaka leading everyone off the cliff night.
If you want to lead, darling, and Sigfus wants to lead, y'all can switch off. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
No, I'll do it on the odd night. I don't commit to any specific night. My schedule, especially right now, is really going to get crazy.
Yeah.
He
I have
can't
to
be
put
tied down.
I have to
Look,
put a lot of my other commitments on hold right now. 'cause I'm
apparently,
moving.
I just committed to one thing. Let's just keep it at one at a time.
Mhm.
Okay, well, anyway, I'm just mentioning that Saturday nights technically isn't a real ran night in terms of it's when are you going in 7:30 somewhere around there, and we all get together and do it, and that's fine. But if somebody wants a night to be the for World v World, then it's open. Just putting that out there. And I do believe that comes to everything that I needed to do. Also, if you ever just want to do a special event for nudes, those are open too. You can do them all. Like, when we had that Protect the Noob thing, or, all of those is what makes us special. Just saying.
Yeah, I would like to also point out as a officer of 2 years in another guild, the events that are special that come maybe once a year or something, those really draw a crowd, especially if you can promote them well in advance. Then you're sure to have at least a few people there to make time on their schedule. You'll always have a better turnout, and people appreciate the event more, especially if you put your own spin on it or your own kind of touch on it.
Exactly.
So yeah, I just like to throw that out there.
Well, that brings you guys to me then.
Okay,
Because
Zero.
I wanted to ask if you guys would be up for me doing another one of my scavenger hunts soon.
I love Zero scavenger hunts. Some of you guys do not know about Zero scavenger hunts because you guys are new, or Zero wasn't here for a long time.
Yep.
But Zero does some amazing scavenger hunts. where he gives you clues that you actually have to fucking figure out what the fuck he's talking about.
Oh.
You don't have a clue what the hell he's talking about, but they are fun. They are fun, and he doesn't make them overly long. Like we had that one guy that did that one scavenger event that took 3 hours, which was fucking ridiculous. No, Zero won't do that shit. No, Zero, we were literally out of patience by the time we were done with that one. I mean, seriously.
Well, I haven't started planning it yet because I wanted to see if you guys wanted me to first. But yes, the same normal stuff from last time would apply. I would only use old world starter areas, so absolutely everybody could come. And of course, there'd be no mount only places I'd send anyone to. If that's okay with everyone, it'll like take me a while to put it together because I want to be crafty.
No, and that's fine. And you can, and that'll be
Seize
that
the
comes under the
moment.
special events section. And Cespi, you have just volunteered to run that night, so you better get to planning, Mister.
Okay, I have to contact. Does anybody know what the name of the tonic is?
You're talking about the one that turns
Oh,
into
which one?
Dolax, right?
Yeah, the Doliacs or the Bulls. There's one because there's one that it has 3 or 4 transformations, and that's what makes it interesting. Is sometimes you can't even get started because your yaks or whatever won't actually turn into yaks. You have to wait. No, it's a random one.
Yeah, it's the
It's like a one use. You have to buy like 100 of them for the event.
Oh, okay, so this is not what you're talking about.
Yeah, that would be too easy. But I do have that one.
Well, this one gives me Dolax
ruminant
Dash
tonic.
and Charm.
Ruminant.
Yeah, ruminant tonic
Yeah, so
can be made by a level 200 artificer. Turns into bull, doliac, moose, or ram.
yeah, so this was something that was an FOC event when they were still around. Essentially, you had teams of 4, and you had 2 escorters and 2 people who would use that until they turned into a bull, and you had to run basically across an entire map. So it'd be like all of I don't know, give me a map. Some Central Tyria map, and there would be a route that the game master would plan out.
Oh yeah.
And if they died, then you had to go back and, you know, all these things, but they had to stay into that cattle form. So if they died or they got popped out because of a timeout, you'd have to sit there and spam it over and over until you got back in. And then
That's kind of like the Protect the Noob Night in terms of the the rules and stuff.
That's
a
what I
certain
was
route.
thinking.
So that's good. So go ahead, go with it. Y'all plan your events, pick a night, and we'll promote it ahead of time. That's perfect. That's great. So there you go. And technically, this is all I wanted to talk about. All of this stuff, guys. That's it. We're done. Unless somebody's got something to add, we're done.
I say I know more people wanted Dub v Dub, but would you all be open to not a regular thing, but every now and then if I hosted a Dub v Dub training night, it would be mostly in like the guild halls to teach some basics of Dub v Dub and some strategies on how to fight certain fights and all that.
I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, that might be okay. You might get you might run into a little bit of impatience since we're not getting pips.
I know. Well, we used to run them whenever on Friday nights because there was too big of a queue, so we would never get in. So it was like FOC, OTBH, and another guild. We would get together and just run strategies with each other.
You could also try Edge of the Mists. I used to run.
Yeah, that could do it. Yeah.
Edge of
No
the
pips
Mist
though.
training groups. Yeah, exactly. But you still get rewards off your reward track.
True.
But I used to run like training in there and achievement runs because all the points have achievements.
Oh god, getting the bucket dive ones would be a pain.
A lot easier with a big group though.
It is, yeah. Took me like 3 tries every time, but I got them.
Well, anyway, so if anybody,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Morgan.
So I don't have that many worries about experienced people who've been in the guilds, getting together, figuring stuff out, doing their events. I was trying to approach it more from somebody who's new, who doesn't know what they can do or what events are out there, and they don't want to create waves. Um, my ideation about how it'd work would just be that each channel we'd have would have um, a person that you would contact, so an event leader, and then maybe a general list of here's some events that we do. We have this, this, and this that can be events if enough people sign up. And then week to week, the event leaders would just sort of check in, see that enough people have signed up to do it, and then it'd be like a green light to do that event. I don't know if you want to put. I know you go overboard when you want to arrange things for us. Like I remember when we had a million Google spreadsheets. So I don't want to burden you with that, but
Well, see, that's what it sounds like. It's like a million spreadsheets to me. See that, but
yeah,
we
I feel
okay.
like
So events research channel, just for anybody who doesn't know, events research channel in Discord is actually where you're supposed to request events. You just go in there and you say, "Hey guys, I kind of like to have this event done," and then somebody can pick that up and say, "Okay, let's do that." And the next thing, that is exactly what events research is supposed to be. Is supposed to be everybody saying, "Hey, I need this achievement. Does anybody want to help me out with this kind of thing?" Or is there an event leader who would like to take this over or whatever? That's where we look at. That's what the events research is
yeah.
supposed to be.
If I had any suggestions, it would just be to make a post for each section and pin it
Fucking
and
Bacon
saying,
will yell at me. More fucking channels. What the fuck
no,
ever?
no, 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 no. Like go to Fractal Info, make a post that says we have talk to Karen if you want to do something here. Here's her in game, and we offer these events. And if I was just new, I would have no idea what to do or where to go, or I don't know. I was just thinking about it from that perspective. But I definitely don't want you doing work, so make somebody else do it if you decide to. And besides that, I'm good.
Okay. Anybody else have anything else to add?
I have one thing.
Okay, Fluffer.
I left one guild to go to this one because I'm so socially inept I can only belong to one guild at a time. And I did that for a reason. It's because when I joined this one for one night at World versus World, and then for some events night, I think, I had an incredibly good time. It was a lot of fun. I felt like there was no, serious hierarchy. I just want to make my point there very clear. And that it's just a big, fun group of people that like to joke around. And that's one of the best parts about this guild. And I think Amber, you're doing an awesome job at helping to lead the guild. If you want to be called helper of leading the guild instead of leader of the guild, and I appreciate everything you do. So thanks a lot, and that goes for everybody, I think.
Thank you. And somebody else was gonna say something too. Before...
I was gonna say something.
Okay, go ahead.
On the top of the info channels, I've seen like in Raiders in Training, they have no keep to info only and no chatting in their channels. Maybe you can post that on top.
When it comes to event leaders in Discord, can edit channels and pin things and change things there. So
Yeah,
guess what you just volunteered yourself to do, Mister.
Wow, myself.
Okay. So anybody else got anything else?
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Taz.
Most of you that have known me, heard me talk and stuff like that, know that I can be less than personable. I want to make sure that everybody here is well aware that I do not mean to offend anybody at all. If I'm being offensive to you, you please let me know, and I will do my best to curb it, especially where it's directed at you. That being said, usually up for anything. I can't do T4s because I don't have the AR for it. I can barely do a lot of the T3s. I am working up to getting enough AR for the T4s. I enjoy World v World as long as we're not ramming our head against the brick wall. But I mean, it happens. I'm always up for dungeons. I'm up for the raids, training because, let's face it, most of us can get better at raiding. So, I mean, dungeons, PvE, I'm really not a PvPer. I'd love to help you out with that, but I would just be a target.
Okay, and then Cespi, you had something to add.
Yeah, I guess I'll put this out. I've been trying to organize this with OTBH for a while, so maybe combining. If anybody is interested in doing Nightmare Fractal Challenge Mode, this is the original challenge mode, so it's level 99 now. It was 100 CM. I have completed it successfully like 4 or 5 times. I'm willing to help people get through it and train them because it is slightly different. So if you want to message me or send me in Discord, the only thing I ask is, one, you have cleared it normally on tier 4, that you have 150 AR, and that you be willing to learn for a couple hours, because it should only take a couple hours and we should be able to get through it. But if you're interested in getting that achievement and unlocking all the skins that come with that, let me know, because I really love fractals.
Yeah, we were looking to, Karen and I and a couple people were looking to do a daily CM 199 CM clear. Our issue was just really before that it wasn't getting done on T4s because we would have 3 Scourges, a Hollow, and a Dragon Hunter, and just no heals and no buffs.
I run Minstrel Druid, so I will always be the healer.
Yeah, so a few of us are putting together builds, and
Cespi,
I'd be all for that.
Cespi, I have now given you a T4 tag in Discord. That means that every time somebody tags T4, you will get a notification from Discord, so that they know that you are a T4.
Yeah, I just can't do Sundays because that's when OTBH runs T4s. So.
Yeah, we'll talk to Karen, and her and I will definitely bother you about it. That sounds great.
Yeah, fractals are always a good thing, especially tier 4, because I do run Druid as my main, just straight up main is Minstrel Druid, so I'm used to carrying people through.
Anybody else with anything else before we close this out?
Hey, yeah, I'll try to make this quick. As a new Guild Wars player and new to Nudies, I think you guys are a great guild and enjoy hanging out with you. Still trying to experience everything in the game. I haven't done a dungeon or a fractal yet, so I'm trying to get around to doing that, but I have to get rid of my staying up till 4 a.m. on the weekends mode away. So I really appreciate you guys, and I'm enjoying my experience with you.
Well, that's cool. Nice to hear. Okay, anybody else? Because I'm going once, going twice. Meeting complete. You are all excused.
Thank you.
There's no
Thanks,
excuse
Miss
for me.
Amber.